Hi there. So this is my shop currently. Right now I'm working on putting in these electrical outlets here. Originally there were 3 dedicated circuits with 1 outlet each. I'm expanding 2 of them to about 6 outlets each, and then the one I'm leaving as a dedicated circuit, and I'm going to use different colored outlets to differentiate them. Now the point with this, you can see there's a lot of outlets and they're very close together. The point is not to have a whole ton of stuff plugged in at once. The point is that if you're working here, oh, there's an outlet right there, I don't have to reach to get it. If you're working here, oh look, there's an outlet there. I don't have to get an extension cord or try and find an outlet to plug stuff into. So these outlets on the top of the bench will be 1 circuit. I've got those ones wired in, and then I have these 2 pulled through, and I'm working on putting the last one at the end of the run there. The orientation for outlets, there is no real code for the orientation. You can put it whatever you want so long as you're consistent. My reasoning for these is this top one is the neutral pin, and it's actually a reference to ground here for this code. So then what that means is if it's out slightly and something hits it, it's not going to shock. It's not going to be live at mains voltage. Whereas if this is turned around, then the live pin is at the top, and then if something touches that one, if the pin is slightly out, then it's going to be live at mains voltage. With the same reasoning, for pins for when the outlets are upright, I'm going to have it so that the ground pin is at the top, so that if a pin comes, so that if the plug comes slightly out and something hits it, or you're pulling it out and your thumb hits it, then it'll touch the ground before it bridges the main and the neutral, live and neutral. So here is the last utility box here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have conduit run here, do a 90 up, and then here's the box, and then I'll put that right about there, and I'll have 2 duplex in there. And that'll be for plugging in the computer and maybe the lights for the sandblaster or something else like that. So I've already cut this to the proper length, done all the calculations, and marked out where I need to bend it here. So bending conduit can get some getting used to. So first thing we're going to do is what's called an offset bend. That's the kind of bend that on the outlets that I have on the top of the bench already, where it goes like this, where it goes a straight run and then is offset by a certain amount, and that's to go into the junction box. This one will go into the one that's already on the bench there, and then I need to do another one to offset it to go into this one when it's up on the wall. So I've already marked it out. The first mark here is 3/4 inches in. That's so that it's a straight run to go into this connector here. So what you do is on the bender, there's an arrow here. Offset bends are usually generally called air bends. So you hold it up like this, you bridge your foot on the bottom of the bender's handle so it doesn't move, and you line it up good. I drew out the center line and everything because the angles are weird. So your first mark, you line up with the arrow. There's one on both sides. Then you want to put pressure close to the head of it, because if you put pressure way out here and bend here, it'll just go here and it won't actually press it into the shoe, which is where you want the pressure to go. Otherwise it won't bend properly, and all this will be bent and not straight. So you want to put your arm over it, make sure it's lined up and centered, go like this, and firm continuous pressure until you get to where you want the angle to be. In our case it's 15 degrees. Then you take it out, and now we're going to line it up for the next bend. It's only a 1/2 inch offset that we need, so it's going to be pretty tight and not very big. So you line it up. You want to make sure that your first bend is lined up with your second, otherwise you'll end up with what's called a dog leg, where they're not in the same plane. So instead of going up and straight, it'll go up and kind of off to the side, and then it won't fit and it doesn't look professional. So again, we have the center line lined up, first bend is lined up with the second, lines are lined up with the arrows, and bend it. Okay. A little bit too much, so I'll just bend it back here. Okay. So, you can see now, It's a little bit of an offset. It's only 1/2 inch, but that's all that we need. And then it'll go from the wall straight into the outlet box with that little offset there. And you can also see how weird the angles are for what I'm doing. This is level here, but then this kind of goes off at an angle. So that's why I had to mark center lines ahead of time to get that figured out. Next thing we want to do is a 90-degree bend so that it goes from the corner down here up to the box there. To do that, we're going to do a floor bend. So same general premise. You don't use the handle actually as a lever, because then same thing as pushing weight far out on the conduit, it'll just bend it not where you want it to. It's all foot pressure, and you use the handle as a guide. So we're going to line this up, again making sure that everything is in the same plane and flat. So that's good. We're going to line up our arrows with our mark, and then keeping the gripper in there, we're just going to push down on this until we get to 90 degrees. With short little lengths like this, it can be kind of hard to get the amount of weight you need. And then you can take it out of the shoe, and everything is lined up. Now that that's out, and it is bent the correct way, let's see how it fits. So that's up against there. That goes nice. That's a good 90. That's a little bit too high. There we go. And then this goes on there. And there we go. Okay, so now we tighten up the connectors and screw that to the wall. But now that that's done, we can pull the cable through it. So, using my homemade fish tape pull cord, whatever you want to call it, you can put it through there. Go in there. And we pull through the other side. There we go. So, how much slack do we want? That's good. Okay. So now we got the cutters. And snip. 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 Okay. So there's that wired in. I'll finish wiring in the receptacles and I'll get back to you. And we're back. So I have them all wired up. I didn't put the faceplates on them just because I wanted to get back to you guys, and then I'm going to go in for the night. So this is all wired up, and I'll be able to screw that on right away. I'll be able to put the faceplates on right away. I won't be able to hook it up to the box tonight because I have to turn that off from the house, and then all the lights will be off in here. So I'll have to wait to do that because there's no main breaker on this panel. It's just a sub panel controlled by a breaker in the house. So tomorrow when it's light outside, I'll turn that off, hook this up, and then this outlets will be good to go.